So I watched an evil nun film on Tubi called A Nun's Curse. Now I believe this one came out in 2020. It's a very low budget film. It was distributed, sorry, by Uncorked, which I have in my experience seen that they have definitely more misses than hits. I find Uncorked and Wild Eye Extreme are those distribution companies where they will pop out some really good stuff here and there, but mostly you're taking a gamble, and usually it's not for the best. But Uncorked, and I'd say Uncorked is like the one I have more positives with than Wild Eye. But Uncorked, they're very much on the same level with the kind of films that they release. Very, very low budget stuff, very independent, which is never a bad thing in and of itself. It just depends what you do with your budget, kind of thing. This film is basically about four young people, two guys and two girls. The two girls are sisters. There's Ashley and there's Gabby, or Gabrielle. And Gabrielle is, I believe, the older sister. She's very bitchy. She plays an extreme bitchy character throughout the film. The characters are very stereotypical in this film, and it it rarely works when you have such caricatures like this where they just go extreme with their personalities. So Gabby is like the really bitchy girl. Ashley's the very shy, timid girl who loves photography, and she is tagging along, but Gabby feels like she's kind of being dragged along because she doesn't want Ashley there in the first place, because Ashley's like slowing her down from having this road trip, and Ashley wants to make all these pit stops to take these pictures at these like old abandoned churches. And the other two guys, they're friends of theirs. There's Michael, who's like the very big stereotypical heavy set nerdy guy. And then you have Anthony, who's the boyfriend of Gabby, who's just the frat douche, essentially. So you have these characters, but they're so extreme in the characters that they are, that it's just comical. It tries to be comical, but it just comes off as ridiculous, kind of thing. So the main girl, the final girl, Ashley, is like the girl that everybody roots for. She's a great actress. She was my favorite in the film. Very, very pretty. Totally my type. She's very cute. She's very like, she loves what she loves. She's passionate for what her interests are. And I love her fights too with Gabby, because Gabby's always bitchy, but Ashley knows how to defend herself and fight back, but in a very timid way, but strong way. Like, she's very intelligent, and I like that about her. So she's a very like quietly sassy girl. I really, really love that, instead of the in your face kind of bitchy type that Gabby was. But Ashley, as a little girl, was told bedtime stories basically by her father about evil nuns, or killer nuns, kind of thing. Yeah, spooky stories at bedtime, that especially one in particular nun called Sister Monday, which, by the way, Felissa Rose pops in this film playing Sister Monday, which is pretty interesting. Felissa Rose from, I'm sure everybody knows, but Sleepaway Camp, the first one. And she plays the ghostly nun in this film, because Sister Monday, legend has it that in the 40s she worked in this jail, and she would kill the inmates by giving them the body of Christ and the wine, the blood of Christ, the wine. And she would basically poison these prisoners or slit their throats using this knife that was hidden in a crucifix. So she pulls out the top of the crucifix and uses that as a weapon. And her ghost still apparently haunts this prison, kind of thing. And this is one of the destinations that Ashley wants to visit. So when not Michael, but Anthony loses the keys to the truck and it starts to rain, they run to this jail and they take shelter in this jail, and this is where the spooky stuff starts to happen. This film starts to play out like a slasher. The nun starts to pick off people one by one. The twist is very cop out. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's definitely been used a lot in these films, especially ones that have to do with ghosts and possessions and psychological stuff. The outcome is definitely very predictable. Now, I'm weird when it comes to films, because Maybe not though. I know a lot of YouTubers. I listen to a lot of YouTubers, and they're always like, "Oh, I got it in like 20 minutes. Oh my god, I got it in 15 minutes." And although a lot of the times the ending will happen and the reveal will happen, and it'll be like, "Okay, well that's predictable." I never really like guess what the ending is because every time I watch a film, I kind of just go with it like I'm going with the ride, and I don't try to guess anything. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a good thing because I don't overthink while I watch the film. I just let the film be and I let the film go, and I don't try to guess the ending. So even if the ending is super predictable, it's not that I'm shocked. It's not like one of those things like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. It's just like, oh, okay, that happened. I could probably have guessed that if I thought a little bit harder, yeah. But I don't do that. Like I'm not like I said, I hear a lot of YouTubers where they say movies are ruined for them because they already guess it in the first 10 minutes, but because I just shut my mind off so much and just go with the flow and go with the ride of the film, where the direction goes or where the plot goes. I don't really have that experience where I'm disappointed by a predictable ending. So, like I said, the ending's very cop out with where it goes. But the biggest flaws of this film definitely it wasn't great. I didn't love it. I gave it a 1 star. The writing is very poor. The acting is not good either, but I think that's what the actors and actresses were told to do. The director had a vision for everybody, and he wanted everybody to act a certain way and the film to be a certain theme. And the actors were told what to do, and they delivered what they were told to do. But because of that, I just didn't find any of the performances very believable or very intriguing. And definitely none of them are memorable other than the girl who played Ashley because of her sweet and sweet and sassy personality and her looks, of course. But the other characters were just kind of meh. The nerdy kid Michael, he starts off very nerdy and very kind of insufferable almost, but he starts to get funnier and funnier as the film goes on. So I kind of liked him, even though he is a big caricature. And then you have Gabby and her boyfriend Anthony, who again, very big douche and very big bitch. So you just have your stereotypical stuff going on. There is one kill involving well, one of the characters, which is actually done very well. It involves a stabbing through the bottom of the throat, and there's some teeth involved. So I won't get into too much detail because that is a pretty cool kill. And the gore effects are nice in this. Felisa Rose looks pretty good. She could have looked better, like the makeup kind of thing, but she still looks very creepy. And I like the way they position the nun. At the beginning of the movie, when they're showing the little girl scenes, they show some like nun in the closet kind of scenes, and I think those are very cool too. So I'm trying to pick out like the things that I did like about the movie because like I said, I don't run a channel to pick on films. I didn't love this film, but I'm trying to focus on what I did like about the film rather than just what I didn't like about the film. And I think I pretty much just mentioned everything. The jail looks okay. The setting is all right. It's creepy enough, and it's definitely a good. Like I liked the jail setting. The flashbacks I didn't like at all. They do flashbacks to the 40s when the nun was killing the prisoners and stuff, and none of it looked like the 40s at all. And like I said, I think the writing is where this film falls flat the most, for sure. It's definitely the writing. The writing could have used a couple more drafts to make everything just stand out more and just seem more interesting. And with a little bit more effort put into the writing, I think this film definitely could have taken a couple steps further up. Given like the technical aspects and the practical effects, especially, we always love practical effects. So this film stays away from CGI, which is great, and it's fine. It didn't waste my time or anything, but it definitely dragged a little bit. It's short. It's only an hour and 17 minutes, but there's some boring parts in it, and yeah, not to sound like a broken record, but I think the biggest thing that could have been fixed for sure, number one, first, is the writing, the script, 100%. And the direction, like the director does what he wants. It's, it wouldn't have been my vision, but it was clearly his vision, and that's nothing to criticize. It's just it didn't resonate with me as much as it may somebody else, kind of thing. Art is subjective and it's gonna resonate with people differently. But for me, I found things just a little bit too ridiculous, a little bit too comical, and everybody just way over the top with their personalities that kind of mostly took me out of the experience of the film. So, but it's free on Tubi, and I've seen much worse. So, A Nun's Curse is not all that bad. And once it gets to like the third act, things start to get a lot more interesting and starts to pick up a lot. So it's worth to stick around for that because there is some cool things that come up, even though slightly predictable. They're still pretty fun to see. So that's A Nun's Curse, streaming on Tubi right now. Go check it out if it sounds up your alley. And subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back soon with more. Stay tuned for... Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.